Hello, everyone. I'm Clair Melanie. I am so excited for this year's Play Therapy Summit. So this is the third annual Play Therapy Summit that we've done at PESI. And holy cow, my friends, the lineup this year is just amazing. So play therapy, and before I jump into that, play therapy is one of the most magical things that we can do in our clinical work. And it's not just for kids. Originally play therapy was geared for 3 to 11-year-olds, but in my work, I use play therapy across the lifespan. And in the Play Therapy Summit, we have speakers coming that are just some of the best and brightest in the field, but you're going to learn how to do play therapy with little kids, with elementary school age kids, with teenagers, like the dreaded teens and tweens, how do we work with them? That's my specialty area. We're going to be talking about how we work with families and getting the parents involved, because I think for so many of us who work with children and teens, that usually is the hardest part of our work. Working with the kids, this is our sweet spot. There's a reason that we're child therapists. Working with the parents or the family system is usually a totally other messy, complicated ballpark. And we're going to talk about how we work with that. And so, holy cow, my friends, we have got some of the best speakers this year. So Tammy Van Hollander is going to kick off the conference talking about how we use bibliotherapy in our play therapy work. I love bibliotherapy. And so one of the things that bibliotherapy is so powerful is children can find themselves in the story. And maybe they haven't been able to find themselves anywhere else in their life, but they can start making these connections with the different characters. And when we compare that with the power of play therapy, it's just amazing the magic that happens. We have Liliana Balon talking about transforming language. So looking at how we can have a very immersive, culturally humble play therapy practice. Liliana is one of the best speakers. She's hilarious. You're going to love her. And walk away with a new paradigm of working with tricky kids and tricky families. And I think that that's something that every therapist can benefit from. We have Paris Goodyear-Brown coming to talk about trauma play and using narrative work in trauma play. So our day one morning is all about how we can bring in the storytelling. And sometimes storytelling is not verbal. So this is getting beyond the verbal storytelling, but how children can find themselves in their stories, most importantly, and in all the diverse creative ways that kids can find themselves. Later on, we have Robert Jason Grant talking about op play therapy. And then I'm going to be rounding off day one. I'm going to be your MC for the day too. So don't worry, you're going to get all sorts of Clair time. But I'm so excited to be co-presenting with one of my dear friends and colleagues, Melanie Davis. And we're going to be talking about how we integrate expressive arts and attachment-centered play therapy with our traumatized teens and tweens. And this is where a lot of therapists kind of get stuck in the work of, I can move so far, or I'm really comfortable working with kids, but once we get to those tweens and teens, they're so messy and it's hard to develop rapport. And how do I help them? We're going to help you with this. Day two, we have Dr. David Crenshaw as our keynote speaker. And David is such a dear friend and mentor of mine. You seriously cannot have a more competent, gentle, kind, wonderful human as our keynote. Sherry Spare is going to be interviewing him, and she is just a beautiful soul in and of itself. And so Dr. Crenshaw is going to be talking about how we deepen the work and get beyond just techniques. And I think that this is really that depth work of understanding why we're doing what we're doing in play therapy. And then we have talks from Leanne Lowenstein on helping with anger. We have Dana Weiss talking about adult play therapy. Where's my adult people out here? But how we bridge this across the lifespan. And then rounding out the way is Lisa Dion and Jennifer Sheevy. And this summit seriously is just going to be amazing. We also have included in the summit registration so many more recordings at your fingertips that are just brilliant. We have Carmen Jimenez Pride is on there. Lisa Dion has another one on there. I mean, it's just, you get the best of the best with this conference that we're doing. But I want to talk about for a minute why play therapy works and why it's important for us to be trained in play therapy if we're working with kids, because play therapy is so much more beyond a technique. It's so much more beyond a game. It's so much more beyond just playing with toys. And when we're actually trained in play therapy, we harness the power of play. Like, we know that play in and of itself, there's healing properties of that. We feel better when we play. In fact, we have like these huge oxytocin bursts when we're playing with somebody who we can feel safe with, who we can find enjoyment with, and who we can find those moments of delight with. And in play therapy, what we're doing is it's bringing in the theory as our foundation. We have to understand why we're doing what we're doing. It's not just a bag of tricks, but there's purpose to it. And this is why you can use the same intervention with multiple clients and have wildly different outcomes or a different reason or rationale for doing what you're doing. And I think that, learning from some of the best is a great way to get started. Those of you who are new to child work, new to play therapy work, this is a great opportunity to honestly see some of the best in the field. And some of the most knowledgeable and highly published, creators and authors of different models and theories and interventions. Like, it really is just a wonderful opportunity. And walking away with some new ideas or some new ways of approaching your clinical work is such a good thing. And what my hope is by the end of the summit, you're going to want to learn more, or you're going to meet one of the speakers that just speaks to your soul and you're like, this is what makes sense to me. And you're going to be excited to go learn more about that specific modality or that theoretical orientation, or you're going to feel more energized in working with difficult clients and, or finding the fun in working with clients. One of the things that I love about the work that I am so privileged and honored to do, especially working with trauma, is we can be working with some of the most in-depth, horrendous heartache. And there can still be shrieks of laughter coming from the playroom. One of my very favorite quotes about why play therapy works is, we can't change a child's story, but what we can do is help the child change how they see themselves in their story. And I think when we can harness this beautiful power, we can bear witness to the magic of healing. We can meet kids where they're at instead of trying to pull them up into a developmental stage that their brain isn't ready for, but really speak their native language and how they make sense about the world. And I think especially, my topic for this year is how we address the unspeakables and how play therapy and expressive arts can help heal the unspeakables. So much of what we experience in life, there's not language to articulate it. There's not words to express how it felt in that moment of terror, or how it felt or how it feels like right now trying to make sense when your world just imploded, or what grief feels like, what we were thinking during that moment of loss, right? There's not words for that. And this is where using and utilizing expressive therapies can be so powerful, because that can be a powerful, loud way to find your story, to find yourself in your story. And sometimes it's not using any words at all. And I think that this is where, when we can allow for our own inhibitions to be set aside, and we can move and we can dance and we can create and we can explore, and we can open up this whole new world of communication and creativity. It's amazing the healing that can happen from this. And so I hope that you'll join me and so many of our other amazing, incredible play therapists in the field. So it's May 8th and 9th. It's next week. It's coming up. And if you can't make it in person for their live webcast, then you can also get this as a home study course. But I really encourage you to come to this training and learn from the best of the best. You will seriously walk away a better clinician. And again, my hope from everybody who comes is that you'll not only feel like you have more tools for your toolbox, but you'll also feel more rejuvenated for the work and more excited to learn more and excited to be with the clients in the playroom. And, hopefully this opens up a whole new door for you to find yourself in the work too. So come join me next week, May 8th and 9th. And as always, if I can be a help or a resource, you can always find me online or just an email away. So come join in the fun. Get ready to use your creative brains. You're going to want your, basic art supplies. You might want some puppets. You might want some sand tray items. But come and get ready to play and learn and laugh and just walk away feeling better about the work that we do and more empowered and more confident. So join us at the 3rd Annual Play Therapy Summit